Alright, so I tend to pretend to be asleep while my partner wakes up just so I don't have to do the morning chores. These are just some of the weird relationship confessions that are out there on the internet, and today we're going to take a deep dive into them. So let's get to it. My parents took me, 28M, to an arranged marriage meeting with a woman, 28F. So yeah, as the title says, I, a gay Indian man, M28, was recently taken to meet a potential bride and a family. I'm out to myself and some close friends, but definitely not to my parents. They've been on my case about getting married, and despite my constant dodging, they finally set up a meeting without really asking me. I knew resisting too hard would raise suspicions, so I went along with it, hoping to find a way out later. Well, the situation as a whole is not good, to be honest. The whole idea of you being a gay man, being arranged with a straight woman, can also be wrong on the woman's end, as she's marrying a guy who she thinks is also straight. So I would just advise you to come out to your parents and let that happen naturally. As an Indian person myself, I know the stereotype held on Asia as a whole about gay marriages can lead to the breaking down of families and the breaking down of conversation as a whole, where each individual doesn't speak to each other for a while. But I would advise you to work on maybe telling the girl you're marrying, as she doesn't deserve to be with someone who's not interested in women. The whole experience was surreal. The girl was actually really sweet. I think she sensed my discomfort because she kept the conversation light and even joked about how weird the whole arranged marriage process is. I couldn't help but wonder if she was also being pressured into this. Meanwhile, our parents were both discussing horoscopes, family background, and future plans, completely oblivious to the fact that I had zero interest in marriage, or any marriage with a woman for that matter. The situation as a whole is a lose-lose for both of you guys, and yeah, your best solution is to just come out. The fear of what happens if I finally come out and disappoint my family. Has anyone been in a similar situation? How do we navigate this without causing a complete fallout? Honestly, the safe bet, as I said, would be coming out to your family rather than going into a marriage knowing that you're a gay male, as this could harm everyone in the situation. I would say go out, come out to your family, and just hope for the best, as Asian culture again is just a complete failure when it comes to gay marriages and gay relationships, and you're basically asking for a complete fallout even if you come out to them, and if you hide it, you're hurting the person you're getting married to. So would recommend just come out and just hope for the best. Looking deeper into the situation, we're going to look at the top right comment, and it says, not being in a similar situation, but I'm half Indian, so I've seen it happen. You don't navigate it without causing a complete fallout. You and I both know how degenerate Indian culture can be when it comes to marriages, especially arranged marriages, family honor, submitting to your parents' will, etc. You either agree to it, run the very real and the very high risk of being miserable and regretting the arranged marriage, or you can cause a very real and potential rift between you and your parents. Again, this comment tends to typically summarize what I just said, and that's just how Asian culture is. You either fall out with your parents or you hurt your loved one that you're going to be marrying. My girlfriend 18F refuses to travel by any method other than car, and I 19M don't know what to do. Well, this title just has middle class written all over it, and honestly I might be judging a bit too early, but let's take a deeper look. I 19M come from a middle class family that loves to travel. I've had a passport since I was 5 months old, took my first flight at 10 months old, and I've since been on 9 cruises and visited nearly 50 countries. Traveling has always been a huge part of my life, and I've loved almost every second of it. My girlfriend 18F, on the other hand, comes from a less fortunate and somewhat dysfunctional family. As a result, she hasn't travelled much outside of our state. When we first started dating 2 years ago, she was in a very poor mental state, but she has come so far since then. Our relationship is stable, we rarely argue. When we do, we always make up before the day ends. Alright, maybe I judged her a bit too early, as apparently she's the one that comes from a dysfunctional family and he's the one that comes from a middle class family. About 9 months ago, I convinced my parents to let her move in with us because of her difficult home life. She even house sat for us when we went on our last cruise, and since then my parents and I have wanted to include her on our travels. However, now I'm in college, we won't be travelling much for a while, but my mum suggested getting my girlfriend a passport so she can join us in the future. This is where the biggest issue in our relationship comes in. she refuses to travel. She has severe anxiety and is terrified of flying. She says she would need to be completely knocked out because she won't be able to handle it. She's afraid of plane crashes, especially given the recent news. Cruises are also out of the question for her. The idea of being in the middle of the ocean causes her overwhelming anxiety. Even if we travel by car to another state, she doesn't see the point, as she thinks she would be too anxious to leave the hotel room. She's in therapy and has made significant progress, but this is one area where she won't budge. Honestly, I get where she's coming from, as a lot of people tend to have this type of anxiety when it comes to flying planes or going on cruises. It's just a natural response to what you see on the news, as there are recent crashes around the world, around the globe, and this can cause panic. But naturally, you tend to get over that panic as you fly and gain more experience. But in her state, I would say that she's not in the wrong and she's not overreacting, as flying can be a terrifying process for many people. Whenever I bring up the idea of traveling together, she shuts down, gets upset, and gives me the silent treatment. She firmly insists that she has no interest in traveling, ever. I love her and see a future with her, but also don't want to give up something that is a huge part of my life. How can I approach this in a way that respects her fears while also making sure my own needs and dreams aren't ignored? Has anyone been in a similar situation and found a way to make it work? Honestly, you can't do much, as flying and going on a cruise is a big fear for many, as many people tend to get anxiety while going on a flying trip or going on a cruise, as if you deep it and think from a more logical view, you're going in the air and going in the ocean, which is a deep fear for many. So I would just recommend maybe using the car, or honestly, there's no other way, as if you want to travel with her, you'll have to make sure that she feels safe and is not overwhelmed. So I would just recommend using a car. Let's now take a look at what the top comment on Reddit says. My uncle and aunt do this. They've been married for many years and are comfortable with each other to know that they will be coming home to each other at the end of their travels. So honestly, if you can travel without her and she is comfortable with the arrangement, then go travel. If you want to share experiences with her and the aspect of travel is significant enough to these experiences, then you may have a problem. If you can make local memories together, then try that. This is a great perspective to look at the situation as a whole, as if you want to travel and travel seems to be a significant part of your life, then do it yourself, as you don't want other people to limit you and cause your dreams to not be achieved. But if you want her to experience it as well, I would suggest keeping it local. And that's it for today. Do drop a like and subscribe, and I'll sure keep you guys posted on the next video.